Welcome to Storyflix. In this video, we will explain Love Me Not. This movie tells the story of a young man who just got out of prison and has a big debt. Taking advantage of his late friend, who is rich, he pretends to be a member of his best friend's family to earn money. Will he succeed in getting the money and paying off his debts? Let's find out in Love Me Not. Love Me Not tells the story of Yu Min, a blind girl attending her father's funeral. Her father's death practically made her the sole heir to the family fortune. However, she seemed to have lost her intention to live. The scene then shows a man who just got out of prison, Julian, a high-profile playboy who works as a host at a nightclub called Adonis. On the day of Julian's freedom, he was picked up by his partner, Tae-ho. Julian expects Tae-ho not to come alone, but with one person, who is very important to him, Yoo-jin. But sadly, Yoo-jin is dead, and Tae-ho only brought his ashes with him. After conversing for a while, they headed straight for Adonis. Julian was greeted like a king who had just returned from war, and he is indeed the #1 host at Adonis, and his arrest has left customers wondering where he's been all this time. After receiving the welcome, Julian went to his boss to borrow money, but instead of giving him money, his boss scolded him. The boss had heard rumors of Julian, who was about to leave the club after he managed to swindle rich customers for their money. In addition, the boss had also known that Julian had been deceiving him all along, saying that Julian was abroad when he was actually in prison. Julian was then forced to leave empty-handed, with Tae-ho still faithfully accompanying him. But they were almost hit by a speeding truck from the opposite direction on the way. Furious, Tae-ho immediately got out of his car and yelled at the truck driver, telling him to get off. The truck driver complied, then he casually got out of the truck, got into Tae-ho's driver's seat, and stared intently at Julian. On the other hand, Julian knew the truck driver very well. He is Kwang-soo, the debt collector who Julian has always avoided all this time. Without further ado, Kwang-soo then mentioned a debt of $2.87 million, which Julian had to pay off within 1 month. If Julian couldn't pay when it was due, he would die. Julian couldn't help but panic when he heard that, and he tried to negotiate. But Kwang-soo didn't care about Julian's difficulty. He had to pay his debts. During Julian's difficulties, a call came to Yoo-jin's cell phone, which was now held by Julian. The caller, Yoo-jin's father's lawyer, did not know that Yoo-jin had died. The lawyer actually wanted to discuss inheritance. As if getting a chance in the middle of adversity, Julian immediately looked for more in-depth information about Yoo-jin's family. From Julian's investigations, he discovered that Yoo-jin's parents were dead and that Yoo-jin came from a wealthy family. The only surviving member of Yoo-jin's family is Yoo-jin's younger sister. Hearing that, Tae-ho suggests that Julian deliver Yoo-jin's ashes to his family, hoping that his rich family will give Julian some money for her kindness. Julian listened carefully to Tae-ho's advice, though he seemed to have other plans. Julian wanted the inheritance of Yoo-jin's family, and to make his wish come true, he watched Yoo-jin's family footage to observe all the details about them and Yoo-jin. The next day, Julian visits Yoo-jin's family mansion to carry out his plan by pretending to be Yoo-jin. While Tae-ho, who accompanied Julian, acted as his assistant. Julian was ushered in unexpectedly, where he was greeted by 3 of Yoo-jin's family confidants. They are Mrs. Lee, the housekeeper, Mr. Oh, the person in charge of running the family company after Yoo-jin's father died, and Ki-young, the lawyer. Ki-young then tests Julian to prove that he is really Yoo-jin. With Julian acting skills that had been honed as a playboy and a con artist, as well as a little improvisation, he could outwit the 3 of them. It wasn't long before Yu Min, who was none other than Yoo-jin's sister, appeared. The 2 of them have been separated for a long time because of their parents' divorce. So that's why the 3 family confidants didn't know about Yoo-jin's death, and they didn't even know what he looked like. But unlike the 3 people, it seems Yu Min is not easily fooled by the fake brother's acting. Yu Min didn't even hesitate to chase Julian away and hit him in the face with a stick, making Tae-ho try his best not to laugh at the sight in front of Julian. But Yu Min's refusal did not make Julian give up so easily, and the 3 confidants of the family did not chase him away. Long story short, Julian starts living with Yu Min, and slowly but surely, he starts trying to change her cold but childish behavior. Julian started by telling Yu Min to finish her food. But predictably, she did not take this ethical advice well. One day, Julian invited elementary school children to play in the yard. But Yu Min, who doesn't like crowds, intends to kick them out of the house. Julian certainly wasn't happy with what she had to say, and in return, he said that it was her who should have gone out of the house. Julian said just because Min couldn't see didn't mean she had to lock herself up in the house. Hearing that, Min immediately left the house, and she didn't do it because she was following Julian's orders, but out of anger. Julian then follows Min to keep an eye on her, though without Julian knowing, he is being followed by Kwang Soo. Kwang Soo then witnessed how Julian desperately tried to convince Min to believe him. But mere words could not make Min trust Julian because, after all, she felt that her brother had left her alone all this time. He was never there when she needed him. After saying all that, she immediately left him. Julian's time was running out, and because of that, he couldn't just let Min go. Julian must be able to convince Min, so he followed her along the railroad tracks. A few moments later, the sound of a train was heard approaching, and it occurred to Julian to let Min be hit by a train because, after all, if she died, he would get all of the Yu family's inheritance. But unexpectedly, as the train drew nearer, Min tearfully asked Julian to let her die. And Julian responded to Min's request by pulling her a few moments before the train hit her. Later that night, Julian calls Tae-ho to ask for his help getting 2 items. Without any difficulties, the next day, Tae-ho had brought the things Julian ordered. A stick and poison pills, which Julian planned to give to Min as a present. Julian then takes Min for a walk to the night market, where he casually tells her that he will give her a poison gift. After all, Min wanted to die, and Julian wanted to help her get what she wanted. Julian's confession clearly took Min by surprise, but then he calmed her down, saying he was just joking. After that, Julian left Min alone in the crowd and watched her. Julian did it to help Min deal with her discomfort from crowds. After watching Min for a while, Julian returned and apologized to her, while lying that he had gotten lost. Min quickly forgave Julian because she began to believe him after the train incident. Min even believed it when Julian said he would always protect her. They then decided to watch a drama show. But in the middle of the show, Min suddenly touched Julian's face because she wanted to know her older brother's face. But Min frankly said that Julian's face was different from what she had imagined. After returning from the night market, Min is ill. Lee then asked Mr. Oh, also Min's fiancé, to take her to the hospital. Hearing that, Julian insisted that he take her to the hospital because he didn't want to bother Mr. Oh. The next day, while taking Min for treatment, Julian had a chance to meet the family doctor, who turned out to have known Jin since he was little. Julian immediately panicked when he knew this fact, afraid that his lie would be exposed by the doctor. But then again, his acting skills can save him and keep his secret safe. While waiting for Min to be examined, Julian meets Tae-ho and Kwang Soo. The 3 of them then talked about the progress of Julian's plan, unaware that Lee had heard them from afar. Inevitably, Lee becomes suspicious of Julian and doubts that he is really Jin. After treatment, Min then chose a wedding dress and jewelry ring, accompanied by Lee. But when Lee gets home, she immediately tells Ki-young and Mr. Oh what she heard at the hospital. To confirm that Julian is indeed Jin, she suggests that they do a DNA test. But the next day, without Lee knowing, Julian takes Min to town to get her used to interacting with the crowd. Their efforts paid off. Min's courage to talk to people began to grow, and she even asked a stranger to lead her. After that, Min went to the jewelry shop she visited yesterday with Lee. When Min was choosing the ring she would buy, the shop clerk suddenly asked her if she wanted to buy one for her boyfriend. Min denies it, saying she wants to gift the ring to her brother, whose birthday is tomorrow, and Julian is stunned to hear her words. When Min came out of the shop, she suddenly fainted and turned people around into panic. On the other hand, Julian just stared at Min without doing anything. Julian seemed doubtful whether he should help her or just let it be. Fortunately, someone moved quickly to help Min. He is none other than Ki-young, who always follows Julian wherever he goes. Not long after, Min was rushed to the hospital, but seems not in good condition. Even so, Min still thought about Julian's ring. Luckily, Julian noticed that the ring for him had fallen in front of the shop. Julian then picked it up and put it on his finger before telling Tae-ho that he wanted to go out drinking alone. But after separating from Tae-ho, Julian immediately rushed to the hospital to check on Min's condition. Unfortunately, the doctor found that Min had a brain tumor based on the examination. If only Min had the surgery before, her condition wouldn't be as bad as now. After Min wakes up, she immediately apologizes to Julian for losing his birthday ring. But Julian just kept quiet without telling Min that he had found and worn the ring. The look on Julian's face showed that his feelings for her had changed. But the next day, Julian was worried again when he heard that there was a possibility that Yumin's vision could recover if her surgery went well. During Julian's anxiety, Yumin invites him to look for fireflies to celebrate his birthday. Arriving at their destination, Julian decided to lie by saying that he saw a lot of fireflies in that place. But Yumin knew he was lying because she knew that fireflies were only seen a few months after his birthday. Hearing that, Julian promised that he would never lie to Yumin again. A moment later, it started to rain, and it was at this point that Yumin thanked Julian and flashed a faint smile. Meanwhile, Julian's DNA test results are finally out at the hospital. As one would expect, Julian's true identity was exposed. Of course, as soon as Julian and Yumin came home, Lee took her anger out on Julian because he had dared to lie to them all. But unexpectedly, Yumin defended Julian and instead accused Lee of hiding the letters Eugene had written to Yumin. In the evening, Julian met Yumin while she was playing in the park. After talking for a while, Yumin showed Julian the letter from Eugene and Julian's photo. In the letter, Eugene explained that he wanted to be like the person in the photo, which he thought was really cool, and he had great respect for that. Julian was touched to hear Eugene's confession. Julian now faces a dilemma, whether to continue with his plan or stop. In the end, Julian chooses to stop the plan. Then Julian wrote a letter apologizing to Yumin and went to her room to hand it over. But before Julian reaches Yumin's room, he overhears a conversation between Lee and Mr. O, who apparently wants to take control of the Yu family property. Julian went to the family doctor and told him about Lee and O's plans without wasting any time. On the other hand, the doctor revealed that Lee and O had always been trying to delay Yumin's surgery. With this, it was clear that they wanted Yumin dead. And as if it couldn't get any worse, now Yumin and Julian are both running out of time. Julian has to pay off his debt quickly, while Yumin has to undergo surgery if she is to stay alive. Meanwhile, Yumin herself secretly came to Adonis without telling Julian. Luckily, Taeho saw Yumin on the street and he rushed to call Julian. In the middle of Yumin's search for Adonis, she meets two thugs and asks them to take her to Adonis. The thugs then took advantage of Yumin's disability to take her down a deserted alley. Fortunately, before the thugs could do anything bad to Yumin, Julian arrived just in time, and he immediately beat them up without asking a word, then took the frightened Yumin away. Julian and Yumin went home in silence. But then, Yumin suddenly broke the silence by saying that she wished Julian wasn't her brother because she had fallen in love with him. As if confused about what to say, Julian only responded in silence. Arriving in front of the house, Julian asked Yumin to wait in the car. Alone, Julian confronts Lee and Mr. O and exposes their evil plans. But they were still able to maintain their calm. And Lee said in a quiet tone that Julian was no better than them because he had been tricking Yumin all along. Lee, Mr. O, and Julian didn't know that Yumin heard their conversation behind the door. Naturally, Yumin became disappointed after knowing that the people she trusted were only after her family's property. Yumin was heartbroken, then she ran outside, and it was at this moment that Julian finally noticed her presence. Julian then chased after Yumin and found her outside, about to consume the poison he had given her. As if moved by reflex, Julian stopped Yumin from doing so. With teary eyes, Yumin then asked Julian about his true identity. But before Julian could answer, Yumin had answered her own question. Yumin already knew that Julian was pretending to be Eugene. Julian was obviously shocked to hear that, but he still tried to convince her that who he really was didn't matter because he would protect her. To convince Yumin that Julian could be trusted, he swallowed the poison pill before her, even though he had previously discarded the contents. The next morning, Yumin cooked a meal and invited Lee, Julian, and the others to have breakfast together. During the awkwardness that filled the dining room, Yumin asked the attorney to hand out envelopes to Julian, Lee, and Mr. O. Yumin explained that the envelopes contained her thanks to them. But actually, the envelopes were a sign of Yumin's disappointment in them. Their show has ended, and Yumin asks them to stop pretending in front of her, and she promises to give them what they want as long as they all leave her house. During those few minutes, Yumin railed against Lee and Mr. O, but she never targeted Julian. Obviously, Lee didn't accept it, so she started to corner and blame Julian. However, Yumin defends Julian, saying that she has fallen in love with her brother, as known as Julian. After everything was settled, Julian left Yu-min, but before he left, she asked him to forget everything that had happened between them, as if they had never known each other. Now Yu-min is alone in the family mansion. She then enters Julian's or Eugene room and finds Eugene's musical toy. Yu-min played with the toy as tears rolled down her cheeks. After some time, Julian returns to his original habitat, works as a host, and he never pays his debts to Kwang-soo. But behind Julian's carefree life, he still can't get Yu-min out of his head. Therefore, while Yu-min is preparing to undergo surgery, Julian secretly goes to Ki-young to return the money from Yu-min and the letter he wrote to her. Julian asks Ki-young to give her the money and the letter when she wakes up after surgery. After that, Julian threw away the ring that Yu-min gave him. Ki-young keeps his promise to Julian and meets Yu-min. It's just that Ki-young came to Yu-min, not after the operation, but before. While giving Yu-min a letter from Julian, Ki-young also revealed that Julian had prepared her operation. A glimmer of a smile crossed Yu-min's face when she heard that, and she wanted to see Julian again soon. Sometime later, Julian appears at the airport, about to go somewhere far away to escape his debts. Julian didn't know that at the same time, Yu-min went to the club, where he worked to look for him. But just as Julian was about to leave, he suddenly got a call from Kwang-soo, who apparently knew about his escape plan from Taeho. Julian then picked up the phone and was surprised to hear who was on the other end of the line. Instead of Kwang-soo, Julian heard Yu-min's voice. Julian rushed out of the airport to meet Yu-min without wasting time. Yu-min didn't know that Kwang-soo used her as bait to trap Julian. The deadline for paying Julian's debt was almost up, and according to their agreement, Julian had to die if he couldn't pay the debt. But later, while the two await Julian's arrival, Yu-min reveals to Kwang-soo that she will soon be experiencing surgery. If the operation fails, Yu-min wouldn't be able to see Julian again. Therefore, Yu-min had to meet Julian at this time. Time keeps running until the deadline for paying the debt runs out. At this moment, Julian had just arrived at where Yu-min and Kwang-soo were waiting. Julian begged Kwang-soo to give him a little more time to talk to Yu-min, but his request was not granted. Instead, Kwang-soo stabs Julian repeatedly until he collapses. Realizing Julian was dying, Yu-min immediately shouted for help. But sadly, it was too late. With the last of Julian's strength, he grabbed Yu-min's hand and said that he loved her, then she burst into tears. By the end of the movie, Yu-min's eyesight is fully recovered and she reads Julian's letter, in which, through the letter, Julian confesses all his feelings for her. After that, Yu-min ran in the middle of the snow, reminiscing her brother's memory until she stopped in front of a big tree. Yu-min then closed her eyes for a while until she finally felt someone's presence, and when she opened her eyes again, Julian was standing in front of her. The moral that can be learned from this movie is not to sacrifice someone's life for our sake. And true love can come at an unspecified time.